You might only think of them when you see their temple on Park Avenue. You might only recognize them by their colorful outfits and celebrations. But the Laotian community is so much more than what you know. They are a private, peaceful group who value family and community above all else. The Laotian people come from Laos, a country in Southeast Asia. They are comprised of many different people groups. The three main groups are the Tai Dam, Hmong, and the Lao.
In Laos, there's so many groups living there. The Lao, they call the lowlander Laos. The Hmong, they call the highlander Laos, which is pretty much they're the makeup of Chinese and Mongol mixed together.
My mother, she's Tai Dam, which is a ethnic group in Laos, and her sister already immigrated here. We were sponsored by the Mennonite Church, where my uncle was a pastor, and that's kind of how we got to Des Moines.
After the Vietnam War, the area was no longer safe for people who had fought alongside the American soldiers.
There was a lot of Lao soldiers that fought alongside the Americans, and so after America left, Vietnam started attacking anybody that fought alongside the Americans, and so my father was one of those. So if he didn't leave the country, he would have been killed. And Governor Ray, during that time, he was able to bring as many Southeast Asians to Iowa.
There are many challenges that face immigrants from any part of the world. For these Laotians, their hardest transition has been language and differences in cultural values.
The most difficult part is that, the language, the barrier. And, it's hard for, older generations like my dad's and all those people that even go through hospitals, get their driver's license, go to open their bank accounts, get the Social Security card. It's tough.
I'm constantly the translator for a large group of our community. As the community comes to me and relies on me on different things, and it's generally that language and just different cultural things that are very different.
Like I tell my wife and my kids that, I want you to be able to adapt 50-50, okay? You got to be able to be 50% American, 50% Asian, okay? You cannot be completely 100% Asian or 100% American. Because if you've been 100% American, then you drop your culture, you left your culture behind, you don't know where you came from. It's going to be tough for them because, they're born and raised in America, But I still teaching them that you make sure that you respect your aunts and uncle. Anybody you don't know, you go to them, you don't know, you don't never call by their first name. You always call either uncle or something, okay?
The perception of the modern woman is like, you're working full time, you're, maybe the husband takes on some of the responsibility of cleaning or whatnot, where, sometimes at home, I think a lot of the responsibilities of the home is put on the wife. I don't mind. My cooking's better than my husband, so I prefer to cook anyways. And there's things that he can help me with, and there's things he can't help me with. So
you live in a village that you have on a few houses. Now you came to a country, you see skyscrapers building, and he said, how am I gonna, support and able to take care of my family? This big country.
Many Laotians practice Buddhism. Laotian Buddhists here in Des Moines worship at their temple on Park Avenue. The temple is the center of life for Laotians, regardless of their religion.
And this is where we worship, and but the temple is kind of a community center, and this is kind of where we hang out or do different festivals and parties and stuff like that. It's exactly like how the community would be back in Laos. My parents always say the temple here is exactly like what we would do in Laos. And that's what it's supposed to be, so that the community members feel like they still have a place to go to. Often there's like Thickathon nets, which is a traditional game that we play. The monks built that so the kids can come have something to play with. There's like a little theater, so the monks built that for the girls come here to learn Lao dancing, and so the little girls pretend that they're doing their little pretending stuff on the stage. So the monks try to make sure that this is a community area.
Laotians say that although the media does not always represent them, this is not necessarily a bad thing.
In Iowa, there's really not a lot of media. A lot of people are pretty peaceful people and they live within their community. So I don't think the media doesn't want to shine a light on a lot of people. we're just so private.
I want to say that medias are really good to the Asian community, okay? Even including, even they cover the Asian Fest every year. It's outstanding, excellent. They really portray us in I would say, really in the top levels. Never anything negative that, toward the Asian community.
But sometimes ignoring this group too much can misrepresent them.
Media and Americans kind of perceive Laotians to always be like the typical Chinese, Japanese culture, because we're so different. And each community is different. Even within Iowa, there's so many different communities. In Laos, there's so many different communities. There's all these different languages that are spoken. We're a country with tons of different ethnic groups within it, and it's just really interesting to be pigeonholed into like one thing.
One of the largest differences between Laotian and American culture is a sense of community, or the lack thereof. While Americans tend to look out for their own families, the entire Laotian community is considered one big family.
We just attend everybody's thing. So like at my wedding, there was 1,200 people invited. Yeah, so like we invite the whole community, and I probably sent out 1,600 invitations and 1,200 people came. So you just invite the community for everything. So, and that's very typical.
The community itself would help itself a lot. Let's say if I know, if I could do one thing, let's say if I can help people, going through their immigration process or take them to the hospital, whatever it is, and they like to use me quite a bit instead of the service out there set aside for them. So they like to come to me, say, hey, can you help me with this, okay? And if I can take a look at it, I can help them. There you go.
In our community, we want to make sure everybody is successful. So it's really the teachings of and the philosophy of Buddhism. In Buddhism, it's all about giving your life to others. I mean, you have to be selfish sometimes, but you always have to remember that there's other people in the world. And I think sometimes we forget that.